Throughout time, across cultures, from the great concert halls to places of worship, into bedrooms and garages, music is everywhere. Through music, we share our stories, our joys, our sorrows. Music is a fundamental form of human expression, whether we listen to it or create it. We even take stray noises from the world around us and make music in our heads. But beyond this, does music impact us on a basic neurological level? Several areas of the brain are involved in processing music, including the frontal and temporal lobes of both hemispheres. Interestingly, similar brain areas are active when processing the meaning and structure of a piece of music and when processing the meaning and structure of language. Can music affect brain development, change the way we think, make us smarter? Some people think so. You may have heard of something called the Mozart effect. Several years ago, researchers at the University of California, Irvine performed a study of the effects of music on spatial abilities in college students. For 10 minutes prior to the testing, students either listened to Mozart's Sonata for Two Pianos in D major or sat for 10 minutes in silence. The results showed that when students listened to Mozart, their scores were about 8% higher than when they sat in silence. Does this mean that music makes us smarter? Well, not entirely. First of all, this effect lasted only 15 minutes, and upon further study, researchers found that subjects tested better only after listening to certain kinds of music. Happy, not sad music. Fast music, not slow. They even found that people who preferred listening to stories rather than to music scored better when they heard a short story before testing than when they listened to music. Simply put, the evidence suggested that an activity which puts you in a good mood will improve your performance on a test taken directly afterwards.
Does this mean that listening to Mozart or other music isn't good for your child? Of course not. But it does suggest that just listening to music alone won't magically make your child smarter. And it also shows how important it is to be careful when considering evidence that sounds maybe just a little too good to be true.
And although initial researchers were careful not to overinterpret the results of their study, it was quickly picked up by the popular press and reported as evidence that Mozart makes you smarter. And even though the original experiment was conducted with college students, the hype eventually evolved into a popular understanding that Mozart could make even small children smarter. This in turn was acted on by marketers, resulting in a slew of consumer products whose benefits had no foundation in sound research. This is a good example of why it is important, when evaluating any such claim, to find a description of the initial research. Researchers have found that, on average, children who study music do have better language and math skills than children who do not, and that adult musicians, compared with non-musicians, have more brain cells in the areas involved with vision, hearing, and movement. Does this mean that studying music caused these improvements and changes in the brain? Not necessarily. It could well be the other way around. Maybe children who have better language or math skills, or more brain cells in certain areas of the brain, are more likely to want to study music and to keep studying music. The best way to answer the question of whether studying music makes you smarter is to take children who are equal in these skills and who have never studied music, and give music lessons to some and different kinds of lessons to others. Several studies have done this, and the results suggest that music lessons may actually make you a little bit smarter. In a study performed at the University of Toronto, researchers compared a group of first graders who were given piano or singing lessons for the entire school year to other groups who were given lessons that didn't involve music, like acting lessons, or who didn't take any lessons at all. While the kids who got acting lessons showed improvement that the other kids didn't on tests of social behavior, The kids who took music lessons showed more improvement on many skills measured by IQ tests. So, while babies who listen to Mozart are by no means guaranteed to grow into Einsteins, research does point to some positive links between music and certain brain functions. And involving children in music can be rewarding in so many other ways, stimulating their creativity, introducing them to new ideas and cultural expressions. You don't have to pay for expensive lessons or commute long distances to elite conservatories. As we said before, music is everywhere. Look into programs at your local community center. Ask about classes at your child's school. Take them to hear live music. Involve them with music at home. It doesn't take much to make a little music.